Hey miners, Mining King here. Today we're going to be talking about Mikrotik, so let's get right into it.
Crypto Miner Bros, one of the most well-known ASIC resellers in the industry, is celebrating their 5-year anniversary between August 10th and the 19th. You can win many prizes such as a KS0 as well as an S19, etc. And there are several other prizes. Now you need to follow and retweet them on Twitter as well as complete the Gleam link down below where you can have up to 4 ways to enter.
So today we're going to be talking about Mikrotik, and I'm going to give you a basic configuration of a router, right? Super basic, enough to get you internet. This is not like ideal situation for firewalls and stuff like that. This is just to get you guys basic internet connectivity and some DHCP and stuff like that. So the great thing about Mikrotik is we're going to be using this little thing here, and you're going to say, okay, Mining King, what the heck is this? Well, this is called the HAP, the AC2 Lite. Now, this also has Wi-Fi. It does 2.4 gigahertz, as well as it does have 5 Ethernet ports, and it does have a PoE in, if this thing will focus. And it's not going to focus. There you go. You can see the PoE in. So this thing's actually pretty cool for how small it is, and it's like I think 40 or 50 bucks. So priced pretty reasonably. Now, the first thing I said is this thing runs on Router OS, the same software that I use for the big boy router for down in Florida. This is the same thing. This is the exact the software is, there's no difference. Like the hardware, physical hardware limitations will obviously apply because we can't do as much, but the actual operating system itself with Router OS and Winbox it's all the same. So, all right, let's go ahead, and the first thing that we need to do is we need to go and download Winbox. So we're going to be using the Internet Explorer here. Well, we'll be using Firefox. There's my Vast stuff, always watching my Vast. But let's go ahead and let's go over to Mikrotik. And we're going to go over to software. First thing is we need Winbox. So let's get this. It's right here. We're going to download the 64-bit version of Winbox. Okay, cool. We have Winbox now. So let's go ahead. Let me try to get this thing wired up so we can actually connect to it and we can actually do some stuff. We have our Winbox. Go to our downloads. Let's go ahead and open it. We're going to allow access here. Okay, so I move this to another monitor. And so we first need to see if this thing, I have it connected to my main computer right now. I was using my laptop, but the first thing we need to do is we need to come over to neighbors. And you can see that this already showed up, but I need to go in here and I need to reset the default configuration because this is actually currently configured right now for when I was away at Mining Disrupt, and I would actually wire guard back home to my home network, and I could check on things like VMs and other stuff like that while I am away. So let's go ahead and let's get logged in. All right, so this is Winbox. This is the operating system for this is the Router OS. So this is what the operating system that you would use to tune your Mikrotik. Now we can come over here to interfaces, and you can see I have a HAP WireGuard and I have a bridge. Now, bridging is completely different in Mikrotik than it is in traditional like networking. Like when people say put your router in bridge mode, this is not the same. So bridging in this aspect is completely different. I won't get into bridging today, but I might have to a little bit, but I'll just give a general overview of the bridge. So this thing does have WLAN, so it is able to, if I wanted to, I could give out DHCP for this here right here. It's actually getting internet from my home network here and then passing it down here to the local area network. So let's go ahead. The first thing you're going to do is if you guys ever need to, and you do have a problem, like you need to reset your router because it borked or you know something happened, right, or whatever, is you need to come down here to reset configuration and no default configuration and no backup, and we're going to completely wipe this thing clean, and it'll be a few minutes. All right, our Mikrotik is back up and everything has been completely wiped out and is no longer, you know, none of the settings are there, right? You don't see my wire guard. So I'm not upset by that. That takes me 5 minutes. I can set it up real quick. So that's easy. All right, so we have a brand new setup, right? Nothing's here. The first thing we want to do is we want to go to system and we want to go to users. Okay. And now we want to add a user. We can name it whatever we want. We want to use King, or you could put, we could put, we'll just put Panda, right? We'll put Panda, right? Panda. Okay. The password is going to be Panda Rocks. Hopefully I spelled that right, so I can type it in again. Panda Rocks. Okay. And we're going to give them full access, which means they have admin access. And then what we want to do is before we terminate and close and just delete the admin, what we want to do is click new Winbox window, bring up another Winbox, and then we're actually going to use the logins, right? We're going to use Panda and Panda Rocks, okay? And then we're going to hit enter to connect, and we connected. So we now know that our password and username is correct. Even though we could right now, technically we could use both, but we don't need to, right? So we would then delete this user and we would close down that Winbox. Now we just have the one Winbox, right? We have the Panda Rocks Winbox. Okay, that's key just to kind of harden our router, right? We want to make a username and password for this. So the next place we're going to go to is called IP services, okay? And it's going to go IP and then down to services, and then you're going to be brought to this service list window. Now these are all the ports that can actively access the router from the outside world with these particular ports. So what we want to do is we want to leave all of these other ones. We want to disable every single one of these, right? We don't want any of these other FTP, telnets, or anything. We want just Winbox, but we could just go like this, manually just do it one by one, whatever. This way, this is another way to harden our router to where it's just a singular point of access. So this way we could really control where access is going to, right? We know what port it's going through. So it's very important. So this is another way to harden your router. So I suggest you do those two things first, make a username and disable all of these other IP service ports. It's a good practice to start this in the beginning. Now let's get into, we need to obviously set up DHCP, right? Because technically right now, if we go to IP and then neighbors, so what IP neighbors does is it shows any device that's connected on the network, right? It's called like a neighbor, right? So, it's like, okay, cool. It sees this G1280. Well, that's my switch. That's my Draytech. It sees the switch. But it doesn't, my computer does not have DHCP right now, right? Because it's connected on Ether 1, which is why you see this R here, right? This means that it's running, okay? So I'm pretty sure it's Ether 2. It might be Ether 3, but I'll have to check in a minute. I'm pretty sure it's Ether 2. So what we need to do is we need to create a LAN, right? Or a bridge. That's essentially what a bridge is, sort of. So what we're going to do is is we're going to create a bridge. And we could call this bridge anything we want. We can call it Panda Bridge for all I care. We'll call it Panda. So everything's going to be Panda in here. Panda Bridge. All right. We have our Panda Bridge. Okay. Now we can add all kinds of things to this bridge, right? We can add ports. We can add VLANs. We can add whatever we want to this. So we're going to add some ports to the bridge. Okay, I am wrong. It's Ether 3. So we're going to add Ether 3 to the bridge. Now, you can't add DHCP to the bridge. So this is going to be, we're going to have this. Now we can add every other port. You could add Ether 4 to the bridge. Ether 4. We can Ether 5. Right? All these are on the bridge except for Ether 2, which is plugged in to my wall, which goes over to my server rack where my Draytick is, right? So the next thing we need to do is we actually need to make an IP address for this particular, bridge or local area network. And this is how we create IP ranges inside of Mikrotik. So we're going to do IP, and then we're going to do addresses. And then we're going to, let's just do this, 172.100.100.1/24. Now we need to tell it what interface this is going to be on, whether that's Ether 1, Ether 2, but you can set it also to VLANs and bridges, right? So we're going to set it to our bridge, okay? So now we have an IP address to the bridge, but that doesn't mean that I get an IP address to my computer because there's no DHCP server yet, right? So what we need to do next is go to IP DHCP server, click plus, DHCP setup, and we need to click drop down to our Panda bridge. And the setup is automatically going to configure everything for us. So we're going to click next. And all you're going to do is just click next through all of this. Next, 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 next. And there you go. And eventually a lease should technically pop up somewhere on this, particular thing. I have the WAN disabled and everything like that. So the next thing we need to do to be able to get internet to us, right? Because we still don't have internet, right? We can check. We'll go down here to my Firefox and we'll click YouTube, and you can see here, it's like, you don't have internet, no intronets. Why? I'm plugged in, the router's plugged in. Well, it doesn't know where the internet is, right? I won't get into like default routes and routing tables, but right now the router's like, I don't know where to go. 0.0.0 is the default route, and it's like, I don't know where the default route goes. You haven't said anything yet. So what we need to do is we need to actually go here to, if we want to just receive an IP address for our router and to set it up as a DHCP client. So what we're going to do is DHCP client, we're going to hit plus, and then we're going to tell it what port we want it on, which is going to be port Ether 2, because that's the port that's going into the wall, that's going, it has the Cat6 that goes to my server rack. So then I hit port 2, apply, and it picked up an IP, right? It instantly picked it up. We're 10.10.1/37-/24, right? So we're on a 24 subnet. And so technically there is some internet, right? We can test this with some tools here. Let's go ahead and let's run a ping. Let's run a ping to like 8.8.8.8, and the router can get out, right? It has a TTL of 118, and you can see the milliseconds and all that stuff, right? So, you can do 1.1.1, and it has a TTL of 116, right? And just so you know, TTLs for time to live. But now let's go ahead and let's open up a new terminal. and let's see if DNS and everything is working. Like let's ping. Let's see there. Can we ping Google? We can ping Google, right? We're pinging Google right now, and it's working, right? So okay, the router has internet, but do I have internet? So let's go ahead and let's try to get back in here and let's see if we have some internet breakout here. We don't have internet. Why is this? Well, it's because, right, Ether 1 has a way out as a client, right? Because it's gotten a DHCP from the DHCP server from my Draytech. Now, inside of your bridge that we originally set up, right, with the Panda bridge, it doesn't know. It's like it's trying to go out to the outside world and it's saying, "Hey, I'm 172.100.100.1. I need to get here." And the internet's like, "Get the F out of here. I don't know who the hell you are." Like, because you're under a private IP address still. It's trying to reach the outside world with a private address, which you can't do. So we have one more step to do in order to get this to work. So what we need to do is actually we need to set up a masquerade. So we're going to mask, which is essentially is we're going to hide our private IP address behind the public. So this is how you get internet breakout in Mikrotik. So let's go ahead and let's go to, we need to go to IP and we need to go to the firewall. And then we need to go to NAT. And then we need to click the plus sign and we need to be on source NAT. Now, and then we need to say everything, everything out interface Ether 2, right? Because that's our connection to the outside world, right? So we're just getting basic internet connectivity. You're going to go over to action, and then we're going to click, we're going to, instead of accept, we're going to change it down to masquerade. So we're going to hit apply, and now you see we've already started to hit packets. You see that this right here, these packets are already started to hit already because there's probably something on my computer like Discord or whatever. Something's doing something, trying to reach out to the outside world, and it's hitting this rule I set up here on the router. So let's see if I can't get out. Oh, and we actually have pictures this time. And oh, there we go. Now we have internet. So that is a basic configuration just to do it by scratch to get you internet access on a Mikrotik. Now, obviously, right now, being it's not in a default configuration, you are going to have you're going to have to set up firewall rules and things like that. So we're not going to get into firewalling today. This is just strictly just to get you guys a basic internet connectivity, basic connection, stuff like that. You know, we have our, you can go to your DHCP server and your lease, and you can see here that it's given me a lease on my computer. It says desktop. Now, Mikrotik is a little weird. It starts backwards in the IP range. It doesn't like start like, because so a /24 has 254 usable IP addresses, but then there's 2 IP addresses that are not usable always in there. And that's going to be typically the 255, which is going to be typically your broadcast. And that's what broadcasts the IP range out. And obviously the .0 for the actual subnet. So with those, the 256, you only get 254 usable. It starts from the back for some reason, which I don't really care. It's just an IP address, right? It doesn't matter. Yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know if you guys give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, whatever. All right, this is the Money King giving you the most hashes, and I'll see you next time.